opening the planning board meeting, January 24th, 2022. Okay, there's only 3 of us here tonight so far. First on the agenda are minutes.
We can't do anything with the minutes anyway.
Because I wasn't here the last one.
Right.
Of course, did you go through any of this?
I went through some of it.
Were there any correspondence in here?
I didn't notice.
Minutes?
Sign-in sheet, it's already
It's
out.
already
Yep.
up.
That's Ken's proposals for, or is some stuff for
Yeah.
Bylaw amendment.
The what?
The zoning bylaw?
Yeah.
amendment?
Okay. PVPC invoice.
That should be there in front of you.
Yes.
No, I have it on the table.
Yeah, I did see it. Okay.
He was here a minute ago.
Get back in that folder.
Okay, Pioneer Valley. Oh, it's smokes. Okay, we have an invoice from Pioneer Valley Planning Commission for Ken Services. Total amount due is $3,689.60 and 60 cents. This is from July through December 31st, 2021. So, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission invoice number 1 dated January 11th, 2022 for the amount of $3,689.60.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor to pay the invoice?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Ken, I'll take this down to Town Hall and have a conversation with Chris about expediting this payment. Okay, so that stays with me. Did everybody get a chance to look at Lillian's annual report?
Yes.
Any discussion about that?
I'll make a motion to approve the,
Approve and submit.
submit and approve, or approve and submit the planning board 2021 annual town report as written.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. We've got 8 more minutes before we can open the public hearing, the continuation.
You want to talk to Ken about some of the bylaw stuff, or are you going to wait for all members?
Yeah, let's just wait until we're all on board. What is this?
You want to take a recess?
Okay,
I'll make a motion to recess until 5:15 PM.
have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, new business, 5:15, reopening the Granby Planning Board meeting. This is a continuation of a public hearing. Jason, you want to?
Sure. So we're continuing the public hearing to consider the petition of Poltrans Inc. applicant Ronald L. Harrop, William D. Harrop Jr., and David P. Harrop, owner, seeking site plan approval under section 6.3 of the Granby zoning bylaws regarding a proposed truck parking and dumpster area for the purpose of overnight parking for 10 trucks in the storage of empty dumpsters. Approximately 13,083 square feet of gravel at 4, 6, and portion of 8 West State Street, and known as Assessor's Map 4, parcels 3, 2-2, 6-1, in the town of Granby, Mass. The zoning district is industrial.
I don't remember where the correspondence are from the other town department.
Should be in correspondence. I know, well,
Okay, so if the applicant would like to present to the board and the community what your proposed plan is?
My name is Mark Reed. I'm from Heritage Land Surveying and Engineering. We have the applicants here tonight that represent or owners of Poltran Inc. As mentioned, this piece of property is on West State Street. It is owned by the current, let me come over this way, a little easier to. So currently, the property is owned by the Harps, 3 brothers between Ronald, William, and David. And Poltran Inc. is under agreement to purchase the property from them. The plan shows that West State Street is over here. There's a long flag pole entrance driveway that come into a series of existing buildings. There's an existing building storage and repair shop currently on the site on the north side of the property. Once you get into the main section of the property itself, there's another office area and garage and shop area kind of in the middle, and there's an existing house that's located on the property in itself. The proposal by Poltran is to relocate their business to this new facility to house their trucks, 10 of them, as the application indicates, and to store at times empty dumpsters. There will be empty. They're not going to be filled with any waste materials. It's against the DEP regulations. They can't do that. Being located in a new gravel area on the property, as shown on the plan. So there's no changes to the building except for minor repairs that need to be done to the buildings. There's no expansion of the buildings being proposed. They want to be able to utilize the existing structures, put their office where the existing office is now, and have areas for their trucks to be stored inside when possible, with inclement weather. And so, this plan represents a revised plan because we did notice that we had the wrong abutter, and I have 2 copies of the plan to submit to the board. Being in the front of the property, and it is owned by Robert M. Oz. Yeah, Robert Oz. So Mr. Oz owns this piece of property that is at the beginning of the property and fronts along West State Street. So we show that piece of property on that. I don't know if 2 is enough for the board, or really that's the only change to the plan. This piece of property is made up of both land court parcels and regular registry parcels. So there's a mix of between land court parcels and regular registry of deeds parcels to the property itself. That's why you'll see some additional lines in the plan referencing the land court plans. We did meet last Tuesday night by Zoom with the Board of Health, and I don't know if they sent any correspondence, but Alex sent an email summarizing our discussions with the Board of Health. They are satisfied with what we were proposing on doing, and I've got copies that I'd emailed too to give to you.
Yeah, we'll need that, that's for sure.
I got a couple of copies.
Thank you.
So the Board of Health's main concern was any potential spilling of oils from trucks being parked there. So that kind of outlines how, that email outlines how that would be handled. The board was satisfied with our proposal to them. So it's in writing to them, and that's a copy for your records. I believe that's the only correspondence at the last meeting. I don't think there was any other correspondence except for the correspondence from the Board of Health that we had.
Have they voted, has the Board of Health voted on accepting this?
Yeah,
Yes, at the meeting, yes.
I was on a Zoom meeting last Tuesday.
Yeah, I saw that meeting, but I
Yeah.
don't think the Board of Health has met as a board after seeing this
After seeing one, I'm sorry.
this email.
Yeah,
That email was sent, so they asked us to send that email summarizing what we talked about, and we approved what was written in that email.
and we were hoping that they would send you something.
Right, yeah, we only
I
have,
wasn't the impression that they wrote you guys a letter saying that we had that meeting. I apologize.
No, all we have is the original.
The original,
letter.
yeah. Okay, so they didn't send anything along.
No.
All right, look, so who's, I'm a little confused here.
Sure.
So who is actually the applicant?
Both of us.
Both of us.
Okay,
Father, son?
I'm the father, it's my son.
so you own 414?
I own it, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. And they're going to purchase the property from the Harps.
It's in agreement right now pending the site plan approval.
Right now, we went into space from various excavating and everything. And we want to grow and be part of the community really because it's an opportunity for us
sure.
to be,
I mean, they could speak to, if the board wants to hear about what their operation is and so forth.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm just trying to clarify who the actual applicant is.
Sure.
So would I be correct as saying that if this is approved, then the purchase would go through? The purchase is contingent on the approval?
this is correct.
Okay, all right. The only purpose I'm asking that question is knowing who the applicant is and what this process is, because I don't want to I wouldn't have to want to go through this again if we were issuing the permit to the Harrop family, and then there would be some sort of a mix-up trying to transfer the,
We are already pre-approved to the bank and everything, just waiting for that meeting.
okay.
I'm happy to answer any questions you guys may have, operations or plans for the property, we discussed in depth.
Well, we're definitely going to want to see a letter from the Board of Health stating that he agreed with your email here.
Haven't heard that from conservation.
Conservation, yeah, they're like, it's like we're not in sync with them based on their schedule of meetings.
Ed Chapdelaine did call me and he said, you know, we don't know about this. Well, you've had it.
They only meet once a month, so that, okay, I'd like to hear a little bit about the operation, how it's gonna,
Absolutely. So the way Forward the Dumpster operates, we're a father-son company. We have about 4 employees with us. We run about 9 to 10 trucks on average, and our trucks leave in the morning before 7 a.m. They come back in the afternoon. We very rarely keep containers on site. If we do keep containers on site, primarily in the off-season months, as right now, and we store empty containers per all EPA, DEP regulations with Massachusetts. All the trucks that we have are always certified, maintained. We have all our maintenance records. We kind of went in depth with the Board of Health on that as well. Our trucks are serviced primarily red salvage dumpster containers, temporary rentals, and long-established customers, monthly service, etc. We see a ton of restaurants, for example, and we service those containers. The ones that are temporary, we pick up, we empty at 4 approved locations in Massachusetts, disposal facilities, transfer stations, and then we redeliver them as necessary. Again, very rarely do you ever see containers at our location, but we like to have approval to have containers and storage trucks there for that reason. By 3 or 4 p.m., we done every day. We pretty much follow transfer station hours, which are pretty much 6 to 4 or so.
We don't store any fuel on the site. We got a fueling company from Connecticut, Reserve Direct. They fuel Tuesdays and Thursdays. All our maintenance is done by outside contractors. Back in our facility, we use the both locations, one in Belchertown, one actually towing, one in South Hadley, community service. So because we don't have a mechanic and stuff, and we don't want to have a power mechanic, that's for me is much easier to operate. Outsource it because it's much faster and much.
It generally is to have a little office on the property. It's to have a call center in the office for about 2 or 3 of us to answer the phones. Have an operation headquarters where we're able to store trucks and dumpsters. And who enjoys paying rent, right? So this is an opportunity for us to have our own piece of property, be a taxpayer in Granby, and contribute as well as kind of build our own little stake here.
Right now we're getting big rent and stuff like that, so.
Sure. So you mentioned you've got a lot of dumpsters, probably, 15 yards at restaurants or 10 yards?
So, like that, right?
We got it from 2 yards to 30 yards.
Oh, yeah,
to
because we
30
carry every size go ahead.
So how do these get cleaned? I mean, I know you take them to whatever refuge for,
We don't clean them because they're all brand new right now, and they're very clean, so right now.
Like, we always follow
Regulations, but-
any Massachusetts DEP regulations.
okay, so again, let me ask the question, how do you clean them? I mean, you must have to, if you're pulling them from a restaurant where there's garbage, and you dump them and you're swapping them out, because I know you.
Yeah, the dogs will always stay there.
If it's something like that, the dumpster's.
We got a special truck with a rotator truck, and so we pick it up the dumpster, we go empty in the casella, it's pick it up, and rotate it, and bring it back.
Or we have a dumpster, a truck that pulls up and physically pull the front loader
Pull the
truck
front loader.
that throws it over.
So there's no washing of the dumpsters?
No, because 80% of our business is bulky trash, not like a regular trash.
Construction waste.
Construction waste, clean outs and stuff like that. We don't carry like a regular trash company like Waste Management in Casella. It's totally different operation. We more bulky, take the big dumpsters.
To specifically answer your question, so in the few instances where we would have food waste, for example, this happens where we're contracted to have emergency services for like a Walmart, if their freezer breaks. We have to put plastic liners in the dumpsters. So the dumpster's lined first with plastic, so anything that's perishable is disposed of, gets disposed of with the liner, so the dumpster has no residue or smell after.
Because sometimes Walmart calls or Target no longer go there.
Fridge breaks.
The fridge breaks, so we line it, the dumpster with a liner, or a special liner, and we don't put it with the liner and the site.
And that's also per DEP regulations.
Any of the board have any other questions?
How many vehicles are gonna be stored inside and how many outside?
5.
So we'll
5 and 5?
We'll
5 and 5.
We'll maximize inside storage. Right now, the property has 5 bays. We'll maximize all 5 for storage.
Because my whole truck is just more like the size of the pickup truck. It fits inside, because this is like a Ford F650, that fits the base, no problem. But the roll-off trucks, the bigger version, have to stay outside.
Yeah, anything additional, and, it's 10 trucks right now, maybe it could be 11, it could be 9, as it kind of fluctuates, but any additional equipment that's not parked inside will be parked in the gravel area, which we agreed with the Board of Health to have paved by July 31st.
Yeah, the area 100 by 80.
That was on the meeting.
Yeah, we already talked to America's excavating, everything is already still going.
Pay for what purpose, though? That's what I don't
Just
get.
park the trucks on.
Park the trucks on it.
The Board of Health was concerned that even though we have great maintenance on our trucks, if a truck is sitting there, there's a possibility that the truck could leak oil, for example, as a car parking lot could, or any car outside here. So they said, what would you do to prevent that? So we said that we would pave that and put oil absorbent pads in. That being said, our trucks don't leak. This is just to be.
But then we just prevent it for this problem.
So it's paved and it's gonna have what on it for leaks?
It's an oil absorbent pad. It's pads about this. So the Board of Health said you either have to use a pad or pave. So we agreed with the Board of Health to use the pads on the gravel area until we pave it, and they gave us a deadline of July 31st to pave that area.
So what does paving do for you?
The paving will stop anything.
We can do the ground.
That doesn't make any sense. I mean, it runs off, it can run off.
Exactly.
Typically, you'd have to have an MDC, is it an MDC trap or something along those lines to capture it? Not just to let it run off.
So the Board of Health, that our solution was more than adequate for the amount of trucks that we have. When we look at other people in the town that don't have that, Mass West, for example, has 50 trucks that are parking without anything next door.
Yeah.
I've been drinking water right next to that property line, my new system don't have it.
Well, hang on, I'm gonna open it up to the public in a minute. Just let us finish getting our
No problem.
our questions vetted, if you don't mind. I don't get that. That doesn't,
I understand, yeah. I understand your point.
yeah, I'd rather not see it paved and use the pads if that was a concern, but we can't go around town telling, I mean, the likelihood, as a matter of fact, the likelihood of a personal vehicle leaking oil is higher than a commercial
I
vehicle,
would agree.
which I can attest to because I just bought a brand new vehicle that was leaking oil all over my garage last month. So I'm going to disregard that because I disagree with it. It's up to the rest of the board on how you feel about it, but I'm against paving that, to be honest with you.
Even about,
For us, it's
even better. You know what, we do all necessary to get this approved. So we
I
follow
get it.
whatever guidance you guys give us.
Right, I get it.
The other department,
I
because
get
the guidance, we agree with that. You guys tell us what we
So
should.
if you told us not to pave it, we're okay with that. We're just saying that because we want to.
Our plan was just dig the part of it, put the gravel and hard pack. That's our plan was. But they want us to see it pave it, he says we gotta pave it.
I guess as a compromise, you could do both. You could pave it to, if the Board of Health wants it paved, you could pave it and then use the mats underneath the vehicles also. And that would collect, the mats are the big thing. They're gonna collect any leakage.
And who's going to manage that and
I
see
think these are all regularly maintained commercial trucks. I think to your point, a commercial vehicle parked in a driveway has a better chance of leaking than our trucks.
Well, again, clean record by the DOT, we don't have no citation at any time last 10 years. We don't have no violation with the DOT regulations, we follow the rules, we don't have nothing on my record, so
Sure.
I'm very confident we should be okay.
And we'd encourage you to come see our location right now. You'll see all the same protocols in place right now of all the trucks and equipment.
We don't have the place I park right now is hard packed, and the truck is parked there, and they've been parked there for Marians for 35 years.
All right, any other questions here from the board?
In fairness to the Board of Health, these gentlemen, the applicants, also discussed with the Board of Health that each and every truck has a hazmat,
As a spill kit.
a spill kit.
DOT spill kit,
You
correct.
know, so if a driver or an employee sees a spill occurring, they can,
That's a DOT requirement.
Correct.
Right.
For example, if we have a car accident right up front, we have to put the spill kit to contain any fluids. If every truck has a spill kit and our drivers are trained that if there is a spill, there's a spill kit in place for a reason.
We have the pre-trip inspection, the post-trip inspection. I know a lot of things happen after that. When my driver fill the paperwork, we got a record of that. Before and after, we see something's leaking, they take of course action to stop it. But I've been driving for 35 years right now, plus ACDL, it never happened to me yet. So
No, knock
change
on-
will happen, it happens.
yeah,
Someone has to knock on, I'm glad you did.
Is there any screening from the street? From,
We're not posing any screening, there is natural, there's woods. The plan shows there's a current woods line,
yeah,
so this is all wooded, which is behind the existing parcels that front on the street. So they're pretty much hardwoods, so that you do now, without any vegetation there, be able to see in there, but during the summertime, it is wooded section of it. And we're not proposing on cutting any of the trees down.
any thought of planting any other screenings? I mean, if you think about it, you're coming into the Granby, right?
Yeah.
You're crossing the line, and here you have, a bunch of dumpsters sitting out there.
We can do it, like I said in the beginning, unnecessary. You want to put that providers, we spend the other things. So we're not gonna do this.
but
The other thing is that we're 385 feet back from the road, so,
They're way back there.
yeah,
so it's quite a distance back, it's 380,
Okay,
85 feet, 83 feet.
I will say it's very difficult if you drive by and you can see it. And what I would encourage you to run Google Maps, the Google Maps that you go on Street View, that's actually done in a time when there was complete foliage in the summer. You can't see the truck.
One more thing very important, there will be no public traffic there. We not allowed to, nobody come to, there's no like somebody come in and shop around.
yeah, no retail.
Everything is done online, there'll be no, any rental, nobody be subdivisions property. Only this property we own for one company, for one trip, not somebody else.
We do have customers that come sometimes, but that's just to pay a quick bill.
And then, you said, well, that happened to me, it's an old lady, so I have to guide her a little bit, but, besides that, we know, we don't operate on Saturdays, we just, Monday
Yeah,
to
we're
Friday.
closed on weekends, actually.
Close on the weekends, so, quiet operation.
Okay. No, any other questions from the board at this time?
not at this time.
Okay, so I'd like to open it up to the public. Just state your name and address and concern.
Yeah, Robert Oz, I own the property just in front, which is here, we just had the addition that's getting finished up over here. The only concern I have is, and this is visible back here, it is far enough back, but, there's two concerns I have. One is gonna be obviously smell of any dumpster that's gonna have any potential leakage, what's leaking onto the ground potentially, and then, any kind of smell, and then the visual, just being back there. And like you said, we were crossing into Granby, and those are really my two concerns. I mean, it's in a, decent spot, it's fairly tight, but those woods are very thin. I mean, you can see, even in the summer, you can even see through them. Those are just two concerns that I have, and I know, Bob might have some of his own, but.
Yeah, the other concern is how close they're gonna be to the property line, because I have my well over here with my big varieties.
Could you state your name, please? Name and address?
Robert Del Air. 8th State Street. Robert Del Air.
So,
I'm a butter.
yep,
I own the shrubs that you see there.
yeah, right.
I'm right outside of the warehouse.
So,
I own 414 feet back.
yep. Bear with me 1 second, I'll answer the question here.
My house is on the opposite side of the warehouse.
I have a question for the board. Are we allowed to address concerns out of curiosity? What's the best?
You can address them through us,
So,
please. But
from the property line, your back property lines are both,
Even, basically. Basically.
the closest point is 40 feet back from the property line. There's a pin here
Yeah,
that is your common property corner.
yes,
Actually, there's two here.
yeah.
It's 40 feet is the corner of the proposed gravel parking area.
So if we're facing it from the highway, it's gonna be on the right-hand side or the left?
So when you're familiar with the property, when you drive in, it'll be on the left-hand side
That's a smaller portion.
and behind, pretty much behind Mr. Oz's property and a little bit behind yours. You can see the plan from where you're sitting. Yeah. So your property is here, yours is here.
What's that?
There's no deed in there.
I didn't even know it existed.
I don't understand what you're talking about, partial 8, I own 8.
So it's a portion, it's a rear portion of 8. So
I own it, period.
so
It's all gonna be a portion when I own 8, that's what I don't understand.
the assessor's listings of them
I know.
are a little confusing.
I got the deed and everything.
Yep, correct. Yeah, this is your deed, land court, your land court parcel right here. So it's back in here. The bulk of the gravel area is behind Mr. Oz's
The
property.
warehouse. That's like the warehouse.
Yep. Yeah,
Because I'm over this corner and my well water's right here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm concerned about. And the smell, of course. And then about it.
Okay, thank you.
And which access are they gonna be taking?
The same one that they use now. It's the gravel driveway,
Do you have any concerns about it?
which is on the opposite side of Mr. Oz's
What do
property.
you want to say?
So there's no plan to open the gate area
No.
in here at all?
No, it's going to utilize the existing driveway coming in
Yep.
from the street. No changes to that whatsoever.
Yeah, like I said, just
was
smell and sight. that's
That was
the
the only
issue.
issue, like me and the water.
Yep.
So it's further away from my yard than I into the creek.
Uh-huh.
And once it's gone, we're gonna find it. Then they say it's a Harris fault or something. You have to reconsider that. My drinking water.
So I'd like to address a couple concerns with the planning board. The first is I heard is smell. As we kind of stated a few times now, the containers follow all Massachusetts DEP regulations. They're empty. There's no chance of anything leaking out of them because every container is sealed. They're completely sealed. Nothing, no fluid can leak out of them unless you open it up and dump the container, which again, they're empty. The DEP does allow you to store on a vehicle for 24 hours if necessary, a container that you bring in within 24 hours, it just has to be done. That being said, we don't do that. But stressing that there is empty containers and stuff. Trucks don't smell either, so when dealing with the Board of Health, I'm not sure where the smell could be coming from that could be of concern. In terms of trucks parking or what we're proposing, again, as you kind of stated too, vehicles, passenger vehicles leak more than commercial vehicles. We're proposing a parking mostly inside, anything left over outside. So any concern of drinking water actually is probably worse now than it would be without us even being there. So we're not doing anything different than has been done before.
Okay.
But I will also add that we're happy to plant arborvitaes, we're happy to be.
I think it should be put there, because in the summertime, all you see is wet birches. You can see right through them, it's like a fence panel.
Yeah, we want it to be a good neighbor.
So, yeah,
And we don't want it to go, we push all around there, and whatever concerns, and we speak about it, and be civil about it. If the guy says this is the ICU dumpster, we put the arborvitae's or hemorrhoids, whatever you choose. Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Just a point.
Yeah,
They
it's
don't
fine.
cost much.
Yeah, of course.
I bought my own, I can take something out.
That friend John Buddha is very friend of mine. Cross grass, he can give me over and so on.
It's just a lot of this.
Yeah,
We're
we
only 40 feet away from the pin, and then,
we be 40 feet easy, don't make it really the long way.
all right, just want to make sure that stays.
Yes.
Ken, do you have any input on this?
No, so what I shared with the board before the last meeting was, just, because the planning board did receive, a letter from DPW, no comment, Board of Health, what they just received today. I guess, one of the big things when I review plans is to ensure that if there happens to be a discussion about stormwater or erosion control, whether that's handled by the Conservation Commission or by the Planning Board. If those conversations haven't happened, I don't know, Mark or the applicants, if you can speak to that. But also just hearing about the plan for possible actual pavement, which may change some of the stormwater, I don't know. But that's something that I probably would, raise my hand about.
Well, that's part of the reason that I brought up. If they're gonna pave, then they're gonna have to prepare a plan for stormwater management, and I don't think it's necessary, in my opinion. I'm not speaking for the whole board.
But those were the big concerns, and then the conversation about landscaping and whether or not the board wanted to have the applicants consider. Sounds as if the abutters, have some concerns.
I'd like to go out there and take a look to see what type of screening may be necessary for the screen from the neighbors. You're obviously far enough back off the road now that I can get a bearing of where Mr. Oz's property is. So that would be one of my concerns, is maybe some screening.
EV, arborvitae and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is not an issue at all.
Another concern of mine would be as far as, putting a condition in place potentially that if there's going to be any cleaning of the dumpsters or washing of dumpsters or trucks, there would have to be some sort of a bay,
Yeah.
a concrete
Yeah,
or
it's separate.
asphalt,
Yeah.
something that would catch
Or just simply stated off-site.
or off-site.
I would like to add also, one of the garage bays on the property does have,
I didn't know I had that.
it's concrete with, disregard, I withdraw statement.
Or you could do it inside, like if you had a floor drain that was drained properly, then fine, you could wash your dumpsters in there.
Honestly, we don't wash our dumpsters outside, and there are.
We never did,
Never done it once, actually.
Okay, well, I'm just saying that would be a potential condition that I would want to put in place, that we'd have to put.
A couple options. I can buy them like a drive-in pool. It's a special liner with a little fencing. You drive it in, wash it, whatever need to be washed, you order how to be pumped, and disposal in the one of the separators and transfer station. You just pump it up.
Okay.
But we're not gonna get to it because it's not gonna invest $6,000 because we're not gonna do it.
If there's something that we do is dumpster repair, and we do that inside of a bay, we can drop inside of a bay and we. do
Sometimes
that.
the bolts broke, or sometimes the chain broke, or door, I got a damaged door by excavator, so I have to put this thing out, put a new door. We do repairs in the trucks, in the light bulbs, mirror, stuff like that, and this is a thing, so it's have to go. But the transmission change, clutches, and stuff like that, tires, everything is outsourced.
Outsourced.
And that can all be verified with quality fleet and South Hadley.
Well, it's a non-issue for the board, whatever you do
Thank you.
inside. As far as I'm concerned, anyway. We're only concerned about, site plan.
Of course.
What you do inside the building is a little different.
Yeah, because the way the property is now, it's pitched towards me.
It's pitched towards you?
That's what I mean about the drink.
Mark, can you verify that?
So look, this has got contour intervals on it, lines. So the property itself really flows to the north and east. if you look at this, this area here is flowing towards this building.
It's going this way.
It's going this way because this grade, this elevation over here
224, 220.
is at 227,
222.
and here is 222 near the property line.
Yeah, down there.
So it's 5-foot difference in elevation going this way.
Well, if you go and look at it, I think it'd be wrong.
We did a complete
Well, he's
topographical
two- he's-
survey.
He's doing 227 here.
Property's been moved
What is it
around
here?
since they, it's owned.
We did a recent survey of the property, sir.
It's 226,
Yeah.
225.
So it is flowing, it's flowing south to north, potentially,
Some, most of it is, but,
Yeah, then we also have that 40-foot buffer.
so it kind of is.
One thing I really want to add that's important that we should have mentioned earlier on, we did do a 21E. Part of that 21E, it goes back historically to the 1950s of the property, and they go back in history. The 21E concluded that there are no environmental risks, never have been. This property has no environmental risk at all. What we're proposing isn't anything different than what's happening in the property already the past 20, 30 years.
We trigger the program over. Whenever it's necessary, we hire an agency, we test everything before we make any further move. So,
For us, doing the 21E is very important too, because you can't buy property that could have environmental risks, and that's what the 21E found.
Sure, yeah, I'm well aware of that. All right, any further questions from the public?
once I got that 40 foot away, that's all I'm concerned about. Once it's in writing in documentation, that's all. I don't want to see dumpsters all of a sudden in front of my bedroom window when I open them, and someone smell.
Is,
Or listen to them
is
banging
that-
around.
okay, is that,
6 o'clock in the morning.
is that a,
7 o'clock is normal hour.
is that something that you folks can abide by?
sure. I'm man of my word. If I say something that is done, I provide it.
Yeah, I want to make sure he's agreeing to it, yeah.
I want it in writing, that's all I would.
That's it, it's done.
We'll get it all good.
Yeah, sure.
So
So,
just to confirm, it's 40 feet away from,
so let me just clarify it. If you're in agreement to that,
Yeah.
then if the board decides to approve this, they'll draft in conditions,
Right,
not from the applicant, but from the board,
right.
and then the code enforcement officer will police it, if in case that's not the case. No further questions from the public?
If I may, just one more small comment, and it's regarding the sign that you may be proposing at the front. The only thing is that there's no distance from the right-of-way. It has to be 25 feet, that's all.
Okay.
So maybe another iteration when you work on that, just to ensure that.
Okay. Right. We have a proposed sign at the street down here, so we can make sure it's 25 feet from the street.
that big stuff.
25 feet from the street.
That's the zoning for
From the street,
industrial
that's
zone.
From the right of way or
From
from the
the,
edge of pavement? I think it is 25 feet from the right of way. From the property
Industrial zones, no sign shall be located within 25 feet of the street line or property line.
When the motel, the one that's on the same side as this, came in for a new sign,
Hey, folks, we can't hear ourselves, and we can't pick it up for the public either. Go ahead, Bob.
the planning board allowed the motel to put the sign less than 25 feet.
I mean, 25 feet back, you're not even gonna see the sign.
No.
That's why I bring it up.
Especially on a small access strip, or narrow.
Right.
Not small, narrow.
Right. Yeah, the sign is proposed to be, 4 by 6 in compliance with the regulation. We're showing it approximately 5 feet back from the street line of the street. The actual pavement is
Street line meaning property line?
property line.
Thank you.
Yes, property line. The actual sign would be about 15 feet back from the edge of the pavement. So whichever the board would like to make as a condition, that's, I think we have to deal with that as far as the ordinance goes.
I think I'm gonna wanna go out and take a look. There's a fine line between having it set back too far and not having it being effective, and having it too close where it could be obstructing traffic, either egressing from the property or line of sight traveling.
Right.
You're good at your job, Sam. You're good. You think of all the right things. I agree with that.
So,
It's also for plowing in the winter time,
sure.
it can be damaged.
You haven't put a permit in for this yet, have you?
The sign, no. No, we have not.
So what would the board like to do?
Well, I guess we've got to continue it again. Actually, well, we have to continue. You want to take a look?
I want to take a
If
look,
I'm
I want to get
available, I'd like
clarification from the Board of Health.
And I think at the very least, if the board chooses to move forward in a positive motion with this site plan, you got to put a condition that it's got to be approved by the Conservation Commission. I know what you're saying, but
How often does the Conservation Commission meet?
once a month.
Or when is that meeting?
I think they just met 2 weeks ago.
Well, from my standpoint, it's a similar business. It's pre-existing. It's, the Harrop family has run a similar business out of here for a long, long time. I don't know why, quite frankly, that this is such it's an allowed use. We really can't,
Well,
we
I
can't
think
deny it.
I think the frustrating thing is Conservation has not replied to us in any way, shape, or form.
Well, we can't force them to.
I understand that.
And if it's been operating under the same, I mean,
Right.
it's like telling the Harrops, you can't operate there unless you put pads in and don't do this. And you have to do that. You can't do that. And this is the same, I don't see any difference in the two businesses. Out of respect for our colleagues on the Board of Health, I'm gonna reach out to them and see where they're going with all this. Other than that, from my perspective, I think it's just a transition of ownership. It'd be like you bought their business and you're doing the same thing they were doing, from my perspective. So I would recommend we just continue it until our next meeting. I can get some clarification from the Board of Health, and it'll give the Conservation one last time to reach us with any concerns. But again, it's pre-existing and conforming.
I'm wondering if these gentlemen, the applicant, should try to get on a Conservation Commission.
Well, that's up to them. I'm not gonna, my perspective, I'm not gonna hold up a site plan review, approval or denial based on somebody else's lack of participation.
Mr. Sheehan, to your point though, we are eager to get involved with the Granby community, and if there's a possibility to do so, we'd love to. We don't want to just have a business with them, we want to be involved.
No, but we are not here to hold you up either.
That's kind of,
You know, we want to,
there's a sale involved here. And this is not that that's a concern of ours, but we're trying to be a community that's friendly to business, to help our tax base, and show concern for the abutters. So I think we can address your abutters, your neighbors' concerns. You've agreed to do that. We can make that a condition, and I think we move forward with it. So unofficially, I'd say, we're good with this as a board, but we just want to get some clarification from the two other boards.
Okay, absolutely.
And we're happy to, we'd be happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Jim, you said you're gonna go out to the site?
Yeah, I want to take a ride out there.
Because I'm curious about that sign. I just think 25 feet on that specific location, I think it's gonna be too far back.
Yes, I think so.
They would never see it.
Right.
Well, because they own the right of way, but they don't own the property next to the tree line ain't theirs. No matter what they're buying, that's beyond their property. So the sign shouldn't be back more than 15 feet.
Right.
For like plowing,
Sure.
and so it's it.
Right.
Put it back 25 feet, might as well turn it sideways, so put in the middle right of way. So here.
All right, well, I think everybody here is in support of you doing this.
Thank you.
Just for our understanding, what would next steps from our perspective be? Just so
Because we have to inform our attorneys and bankers, because we just postponed everything the second time in our banking and attorneys, and because extension by extensions, and so I have to call my attorney tomorrow, my bankers, what's the next step, what's not a delay.
Okay, so
Your next date of the meeting?
we meet every 2 weeks.
Okay.
So,
2 weeks, that would be,
So I would hope we'd have everything in place, our questions answered, and be able, I can't speak for the whole board. There's only 3 of us here. I can't speak for either of my colleagues, but I would think we would be able to vote on it at our next meeting.
Mr. Chair,
That's not a fair statement every 2 weeks.
yeah, you're.
Well, what do we got?
It's
We'll
the
be
second and
meeting-
fourth.
We'll be
Tuesday,
meeting the
Monday.
14th. It's always the second and fourth Monday of the month.
so
2 weeks would be the
so the
7th.
14th,
It's
Correct.
a
February
regularly
14th.
scheduled
That is
meeting.
correct.
okay, February 14th would be your next meeting.
Yeah.
At 5:15 again?
What does that do to you?
Yeah, it's fine.
it's gonna make my girlfriend upset if I miss dinner, other than that. Not Wednesday.
Mark,
I got
answer
champagne
your
on the
question.
refrigerator, ready to go.
We'll make it solid.
What's that?
Mark, in answer to your question, we'll make it solid time and date when we have a motion.
Yes, you're right, I'm sorry.
So the 14th would be okay?
Yeah.
Because we've been known to move meetings up. All right, so,
Yeah,
The one thing I'm nervous of is, in this is, for example, if there are board members who aren't here, would that further delay anything at that time?
The
That was-
board will not be able to vote.
Right.
Those board members will not be able to vote because unless you pass the Mullins rule,
I'm sorry, say
We
that
did.
again, please.
you
Ken.
did. So if this vote, it's a regular special, site plan, so it's only a majority vote. But if the 2 missing members do not read up or watch the video for the proceedings today, they are not eligible to vote. However, if they do and they sign a disclosure with the town clerk, they are. But you only need 3 votes, and you have the 3 of the members here today.
All right.
Yeah.
It's fair enough.
Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much, and it's good to be here and talk to you.
We're not quite done officially yet. I'll make a motion to continue this public hearing until Monday, February 14th at 5:15 PM.
do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Now you can go.
Dismissed.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I recommend, Mark, I recommend,
Yes, he does.
I recommend they try to get a hold of conservation. I recommend they try to get a hold of conservation, because conservation are just gonna,
In America, so the second generation.
yes. And that's why the Board of Health has responded. Highway Department.
Hey, thank you, thank you.
Building inspector.
Hey, you as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on our agenda, continuation of a public hearing. Did we close this thing out?
Well, we made a motion to, I don't know that we actually closed the meeting. All we did was resume the meeting after,
Well, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
not close it. We continued the hearing. I'll make a motion that we reopen our regularly scheduled meeting.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will now make a motion to close our regular scheduled meeting, to resume after the next public hearing, and open this public hearing.
Okay, it is now 6:05, January 24th, 2022. Jason, would you like to read the opening?
This is a continuation of the public hearing to consider the petition of Alan Beauregard, applicant, Daniel Darcy, owner, seeking site plan approval under section 6.3 of the Granby zoning bylaws and applicable of section 3 regulations 3.5.8 auto repair shop regarding existing business AJ's Auto Body site plan for proposed expansion at 39 West State Street and known as map 3D-C-25 in the town of Granby, Mass.
Okay, there's no one present here to represent. It's still an open issue with again, the Board of Health wanting some sort of a plan on how they were going to address leaky vehicles. We have yet to hear that. The applicant has yet to come back to us. I'd like to close this hearing.
I would not,
Okay.
simply because, in all fairness, the money that is incurred to the applicant for a public hearing regarding advertising and registered mail, that kind of stuff.
I would normally agree with you, Bob, but the disrespect to the board not getting back to us for 2 meetings, that we've continued this without any feedback that they're working on something. They've had a conversation with the Board of Health. I've driven by there several times. They're operating as if they were already approved. I see no reason to keep this on our agenda. They've showed lack of respect to the board in our time. I would close it out, and if they want to refile, they can refile. I don't know as if they're even interested in doing it at this point. They haven't said any representation. They haven't sent emails that they're working on something. I mean, it's up to you.
How about if we did this? How about if we continued it for one more meeting, and we have maybe Ken reach out to the applicant? Where are we going? Let us know. We're considering closing the matter.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I
Go
like
one
that.
more shot.
Yeah, I think that's fair in that way.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion
Okay.
to continue it to the next.
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for AJ's Auto Body to Monday, February 14th at 5:30 PM.
We have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to resume our regular meeting.
We have a
I'll
second?
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. I'm going to ask that we next thing on the agenda is review action items. I don't believe we have any significant action items.
Right.
Other than I'm going to reach out to the Board of Health to see what their opinion is on this site plan. And then the zoning bylaw changes, I'd like to see the full board here. Number one and number two. I'm ready to close this meeting for tonight. I've had enough.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.